Hello, welcome to The Art of Yarn. I forgot what my podcast name was because I haven't been podcasting for so long. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. So welcome to The Art of Yarn. I'm way behind on telling you guys about adventures of the Houston Fiber Festival, the Stitches Midwest, and even just traveling up to Dallas for an art opening in which I had a piece in, and going shop hopping because they have yarn shops, so you can't not visit a yarn shop. So I have a lot of stuff to show you guys, and like I had a birthday in between there, like a lot of stuff has been piling up. That, and I'm always like happy to trade with people. I'm on my webcam, and I can tell from my hair that it is leaning a bit warm toned, so the colors are not going to be correct. But I didn't feel like pulling out my camera. I was being lazy. So anyways, where to start? Houston Fiber Fest. We'll start there. It was great. There I saw and talked with other indie dyers and made connections and things for my fibers class and stuff like that I teach. And I talked with like one of my favorite dyers, Sherry from Nodi Yarns, and I'm going to show you her lovely yarns. We decided that we're going to collab, and each of us knit with our yarn and a skein from each other. So this is my yarn with covered in cat hair. That's because Jack decided it would be wonderful to lay on. So this was a new colorway called Comedy of Terrors, and it's getting kind of washed out from the lighting. But it is a Halloween speckly, splotchy, oranges, purples, and greens, and some blues in my, because it's green label, Explore colorway, which is BFL. So I already had two of her skeins that I hadn't touched yet. One in, this is more green, it's coming off like a weird yellow, but it is a like chartreusey or bile, as my mom would, that's how she sees it with her life experience. And this hot pink, which the camera is not doing this justice. This is like a deep, I call it a Kyla pink, because I love this color pink. It's like a deep magenta, fuchsia magenta. So these three, and this one, which I opened up, this is more of a blurple, so bluish purple. It leans more purple. So these are horrible. This is horrible lighting. These three colors, I'm going to do the Color Craving shawl by Stephen West. I've been wanting to do that shawl since I saw it like years ago knit up. So it's about damn time. But I have my starting point shawl still on needles that I want to get done first. So this is the second panel, and I'm about 3 sections away. I can show you guys the first panel It's in purples, different purples, my beautiful muck color, and like seafoamy tealy green. So that's the first panel. And then the second panel I have done. I had it on display, or the first panel, yeah. So I just need to do this much left on the second panel from here on up. And then I can put them together, which I think will give me some more steam on working on it. I'm kind of shawled out. I want to make some garments. I was talking, so I have these adorable sheep dresses and skirts that I wear, and so I was talking with Sherry at probably both Houston and Stitches Midwest. So, and we were saying, and we decided that I need to like kind of show, like, use my fashion sense more in my business, which is fine with me because I like playing dress up. So I want to weave with my yarns and commercial yarns as well. I've got, you know, a bookcase behind me with a whole bunch of weaving yarns. So I want to weave some fabric to make like a jumper-y type dress with a, and using some of the geometry that's been used in more of the avant-garde type garments and Japanese fashion. So like there's like in the seam, there's like a right angle and it creates a beautiful drape. So I want to play with that with it. Yeah. Stitches, or no, we're still in Houston. We're still in Houston. All right, in Houston. Sorry, I've got things in plastic baggies still, so you will hear rustling, which I know can annoy people, but won't deal with it. Anyway, so across from us at Houston Fiber Festival is a dyer called from New Orleans called Teeny Buttons Dye Studio. Super sweet. Her and her mom been together, so it was like mom teams mixed. And I picked up some sock yarn to make my in-law something. This is like the perfect crawfish. It's called crawfish boil. This is like mudbug color, cooked mudbug color. So I'm making them a Christmas present with this. I need to get it going, obviously, because this is still in skein, and there's only 2 freaking months until December. I need to get going on that. Crap. On a crawfish. Anyway, so, and then I also, because I like to trade with people, so I traded with Irish Girl Crafts. This is English Tea Garden, kind of the soft, muted, a bit more muted purples and teals. And like some berry colors. I don't know what I'm going to make with it. I have so much that kind of will go together from other dyers and stuff that I really want. I'm thinking of doing like a big marled project, and I think this will marl nicely. So marl's where you knit with more than one color of yarn together, and you kind of switch it. So you'll continue with one color and switch a second, like color A, and switch your color B to a new color, but you're still knitting with your color A. It's also a spinning technique for doing multicolored yarns. So it's applying technique as well. Yeah. Anyway, tangent times. Learning tangents. So this is VF Fibers. There is a name on it, but I'm afraid I'm going to pronounce that wrong. This is from India. This is 100% mulberry silk, and it is reflecting a lot of the pink back into the camera, but it's more of a orchid color that like, oh, it was a color of the year for a while, or for a year a while ago. Something orchid, I don't know. It's orchid. So I traded this for some yarn from the shop. Why am I blanking out on names? It's a shop in San Antonio. I'm blanking. Inskein Yarns. There we go. With Inskein Yarns. And I set up a trunk show with them in February. So if you live in the San Antonio area, February, if Inskein is your preferred shop, my yarns will be there. This weekend I've got a trunk show in San Antonio at Yarnivore. So San Antonio likes my yarns. I also picked up some beads that had to be shipped to me because she didn't have the amount I needed, because I needed a ridiculous amount to do a shawl called the Rihanna shawl, like the Fleetwood Mac song. These, yeah, you can't really see. They are like a purple gunmetal, like a plummy gunmetal. So like they're not really showing up well on camera at all. And they're going with hot pink. And with that I had to buy, because there's so many beads in the pattern, it needs a higher content of lace than my lace yarn has. So I'm adding a strand of lace sewing thread with it to give it some strength. Or silk. I feel like I was saying the wrong thing. My yarn doesn't have enough silk in it to have the proper strength to hold all the beads. So I'm adding in silk sewing thread to add some strength. So my gauge will be a little bit different as well. And then I also got this teeny tiny crochet hook. With a nice big handle, so to add on beads. And this was all from Gilded Lilies, or Gilding Lilies, and they have really great pricing. So I looked at, well, I was trying to price out my shawl, and I was looking at beads on Fire Mountain Gem, because they're well known for their beads. And I knew I could get the Japanese beads, because dyed seed beads, or sometimes they're dyed or painted and not technically colored glass, they can bleed out into your knitting. So you need to get really high quality beads. So I knew I could get the beads, like some high quality beads from them. They were so expensive, and then I saw them at Houston. I was like, oh, how much would like this amount of beads be? And she's like, so it was like 60 or 70 I was looking at Fire Mountain, and it was like 20 or 30 from them for the same amount of beads. I think it was closer to 30. And so, yeah, I know where I'm going to get beads from now on. Gilding Lilies. Excellent price. I also, so last year at the Fiber Festival, I sat across from Wild Dahlia, and we just hit it off super nice. And so we decided to trade. So I picked up this. This is more neon and black. It looks kind of like rainbow and gray. It's neon and black. So I picked up this beautiful hand-spun Cheviot is the fiber. And I think I'm going to do like a wall hanging out of this, because it's not next to the skin in my temperature range, and doesn't get cold enough to make like a coat with this as an accent, because this would make a really great cuff and collar on like a coat, because then it wouldn't be next to the skin, but it is like way too hot in Houston for that jazz. So those were my Houston goodies. So after Houston, while getting ready for Chicago, I had my birthday, and knitting needles fell out. My mom made me this wonderful feminist button, like feminist bag, because women need rights too. It's so wonderful, and it's got a little sheep inside. A little rainbow sheep. Wonderful buttons. Like Break the Silence and the Violence. Never Again with a hanger on it. It's wonderful. You know, Take Back the Night. Pro-child, pro-choice. Wonderful things. Sexism is a social disease. So now as I knit, everyone will know, if they couldn't tell, that I'm a feminist. Because feminism is not a dirty word. The other thing my husband got while he was at the Houston Fiber Festival, so this is handmade, this bag, really well made, and like my mom's been sewing for eons. I know how to sew, and I thought it was worth the money. Like, I could have made this bag myself, but they did a better job, and it was worth the money. And it's herringbone, which is like one of my favorite weaves, with red, black, red, and white. I love that color combo. And it's humongous. This has a Maggie Knits kit in it right now, and more. There's a set of dice. Oh, there's a spoon, a couple spoons in here. Didn't know I had spoons in there. My mom got me the larger sizes of the Chagu knitting kit, or no, the small ones. And then I'm going to slowly pick up a pair of needles here and there for the larger, to make out the larger set. So I had a wonderful birthday. Pull this out as well. All right, I don't remember where I ended because I had to go do something real quick. Oh, I'm not done with Houston. At Houston, there was an artist and dyer. Her name is Lisa Urban. Let me pull this out of the plastic. So we exchanged. She wanted some yarn of mine, and I wanted some of her work. So I need to hang these, frame them and hang them. So this is a little card, and it's watercolor pearl stitch. Yeah. Sorry, I had to double check that it wasn't a print. So this is a watercolor, and it's close up of the pearl stitch, or, you know, stockinette, reverse stockinette. And if you've ever tried to draw or paint knitting, it is like the biggest pain in the ass. And then I have this matted piece. I believe this is a print. Yeah, this is a print. And it's glary. I should have taken it out. But this is originally from a oil painting. So I'm trying not to tear things and see slow crinkle. Called Beneath Wandering Thoughts. Yeah, Beneath Wandering Thoughts. Just lovely color. Juicy paints too. In person, the oil painting in person had really nice juicy paint. And not a subject matter you see all the time with knitted, you know, abstraction with knitted details. That's lovely. So that was Houston. I was on my birthday. So anyway, I also forgot a thing from Houston that Noti. Well, this did you give it to us? No, she gave us this in. My mom and I won in Stitches Midwest. So on to Stitches Midwest. I didn't buy much at Stitches. I bought more non-yarn stuff than yarn. On the way up, I bought some yarn because I stopped at some different shops, and I like to get something at each shop because it helps keep them open. Like every time you go to your shop, if you can get something even for like $10, it helps keep that shop open. And they're such a valuable resource to the community that they need to stay open. So, at a couple places I just got cords for my, some longer cords because I like to magic loop, for my Chagu set. So that way I could spend that little bit. There wasn't necessarily anything to my aesthetic, so I got that. These are the lace bobbins for my lace, or the silk bobbin or silk sewing thread for my lace. And I just got those at Joann's. So you can knit with anything. Just a reminder. Anyway, I didn't take notes like I should have. On the way up, I stopped at a couple different stores. One was in Texarkana, and then I tried to stop at another one, but they were closed by the time I got there, in Arkansas. And then I stopped at a shop in come on, brain. St. Louis, Missouri. There we go, brain. And then a shop in Springfield, Illinois, called Nancy's Knitworks, and the owner bought some yarn from me. So, and I bought a cable from him, and I feel like I stopped somewhere else. Maybe not. I don't remember. This is why I should have podcasted sooner, but I didn't. Sorry for the shaky cam. So one shop was called Knittorious, and I had to stop at the shop called Knittorious. I got this, which is kind of like a grayish, like plum, like if you grayed out plum, and it's just by Malabrigo. A lot of them didn't have like local indie dyers, which is always really sad. So this is Madeline Tosh. This one and this one I got, and they all go together well. So I was thinking of doing a might do like a shawl with these three, or as I'm saying, I'm knit stick of shawls, or like kind of save these for a marled thing. I kind of want to do that giant marled sweater from Stephen West, like that big comfy looking sweater. It looks like it's fun to wear and super comfy, which sounds like good knitting. Anyway, so this is a Madeline Tosh. Once in a while I'll like some of her yarns, but I'm not the hugest Tosh person. So I like the new band design. Anyway, so this one also has kind of that purpley grayish in it, and like a charcoaly gray, as well as some like chartreusey bile neon splashes in it, which I thought was like interesting. So it's not something you see all the time, and I like that. And I wanted to get this little hedgehog neon-y speckle, because I liked the speckle. Some speckles I don't like. Like I like my speckles because they're more like polka dots. Ooh, the camera's really making it hard to see. So this is Magical Girl. So they're more like polka dots than they are the like common speckle where they sprinkle on the dye powder. So trying to think if there was anything else. hair's doing weird stuff. That was going up to Chicago, and on the way back I stopped back at Nancy's Knits to get their information because they were interested in wholesale, so maybe. Anyway, they were really sweet people, though. I'm glad I met them. So at Stitches, I ordered, because she didn't have it there, a Maggie's Knits kit. So, and I started knitting on it and got gauge like right away. Love when that happens. She's like, oh, magical gauge. So but I put it down when I started the semester because I had like too much going on. So this is part of the Allie sleeveless dress. Oh, there's my color craving. That's the color craving pattern. Rihanna's missing. Anyway, ADD times all over the place today. So I've already got one tube done. So I'm doing mine in black, gray, and hot pink. And I got gauge right away. This is a really nice soft linen. It's really nice to work with. And I can't wait to wear it. I want to make a what are those dress styles called? Trapeze style dress out of, I have like that color pink sheer fabric, and I want to paint my characters from my art, my imaginary world, and with my art, and like those spirits and things, little creature guys like hanging out on the dress underneath. I'm like, that'll be amazing. It's gonna happen. So basically this summer I decided I need to sew more because clothes right now kind of suck. I mostly got patterns at Stitches and things made by other artists not in the US. So I bought this pattern, this shawl. It's pretty amazing. They had a kit, but I want to make it out of my yarn because I'm going to be a snot like that. But it looks like this. So, and this was interesting because they sold this as like a little QR code piece of paper. So I had to like go on their website and like download it, which is nice because then I have the digital copy. But there was somebody irritated at my booth because she really liked the Valkyrie shawl that I made kits for, and I told her, I'm like, oh, it's free on Ravelry, and she's like, oh, why aren't there? I don't have a computer and la-di-da. And it's like, well, it's not my pattern to print off for you, so I technically can't without the designer's permission, and it just makes a weird area. So like, and I explained that to her, and she was still like, you know, not everybody has a computer. She was just irritated because so many patterns are online now and not a physical copy. So I think it's really important for pattern designers to have both for people. I also ended up exchanging with Michelle Steed, who makes, oh, where did I have have that somewhere else. The shawl pin. The shawl pin is somewhere else. It's gorgeous. But we exchanged shawl pin and for some yarn and 2 patterns. So this beautiful pattern with this Celtic knotwork on it. And this is a DK weight. A worsted weight shawl, which those are really nice to have, especially if you live in a colder climate. And then this one that also looks like it has some Celtic type knots on it as well. This one is fingering, and I'm seeing it in completely different colors, which is great. So, and then like in this, it comes with a code that you can use to get your free pattern copy on Ravelry. This is great. Like you have a physical copy and you can have your digital copy. So if you lose your physical copy, you still have one. That is great. That is how it's done. And put it somewhere safe. Oh, I think I know where it is. Oh, okay. But she makes gorgeous shawl pins. And like if this bends on you, if you give her a call, she'll replace it. Like, excellent person. She like blogged about my yarn like soon after, way more on top of things than this person here. Just super sweet. And she's all about like helping out others. So I found that at Stitches, like a lot of the indie dyers are just really happy to help each other out. They're like, yeah, if you want to, I was just like wandering around looking at other people's setup, and I'm like, oh, I'm just wandering around looking at your setup. They're like, yeah, I did that too. All the time. It's like, okay, like really friendly and sweet. And it's just, and then Stitches was great. I'm not going to do it this upcoming year just because I didn't make as much as needed to make the travel expense worth it. And also the time of year with the semester here starting in mid-August, it's like, so I got back from Stitches and then I had to like hurry up and get everything prepped for classes. So I didn't have as much time to, like, I re-photographed all my yarn, and then I realized it was all blurry. So I get to and I didn't like it that much, so I get to re-photograph it again. I'm going to do that after the trunk show and go back to my old setup. I tried a new setup, so. But yeah. Anyway. So I bought this, the person next to me, she let me use her electricity for free. I was going to pay her. I'm like, oh, can I pay you like a couple $100s to use your electricity? Because I didn't know that I needed to pay, and I'm like, okay, I'll get this generator, and it wasn't going to last the whole time. So, it was like, it's a battery power bank kind of a thing, like a big one. And so she just let me use it. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. So, and she had she goes down to Guatemala and Peru and buys from, like fair trade, buys from the artists who make things, beads and handwovens and stuff. And she had some beautiful ikat shawls. So I had to get that So I had to get this gorgeous ikat shawl, and that way it was like payment, and I paid her a little extra, because then it was like a little payment for letting me use her electricity. But oh, it's so beautiful. I love ikat. Ikat is like my favorite thing. So, kind of surrounding me were these people who were buying from artisans outside of the US, and I have like mixed feelings about that because it's like, oh, I love supporting textiles, but at the same time, if I took my hand woven stuff and tried to sell it at the price point that I need to make a living here in the US, I could not compete at all. So it really hurts the US hand woven and maker community. So it's like, they weren't selling indie dyed yarns, but still, it's like, if I took my hand woven clutches, people are going to be like, well, why should I buy that when I can go across from you and get something from Africa for cheaper? Which I bought some stuff from Africa. They were super sweet as well. They let us use their stepladder. And they had this amazing hat, which is like magical Audrey Hepburn hat this way, or you can like flip up one end. I love me a good fabulous hat, so this had to come home. I mean, just fantastic. And I'm also like a bag person. So this is like a basket bag, and it has a drawstring that closes it. This is just cute. I need to play with the bow a bit, but because it's twisted. Weird. No, it's upside down. But if I just get this wet and like put it in place, it'll stay to how I want it. So, but at the same time, me buying that helps another artist across the world. So it's like, it's a weird mixed thing. I still have more shit to show you guys because I should have podcasted more. So I went up to Dallas I had my tribe members in an art show up there that my friend did a show. Why can't I think of the right words? Anyway, I had my art up in Dallas. So I drove up to Dallas and back, which is like a 4-hour drive. And because it was just another part of the state, I'm like, oh, it's no big deal. I'll do it in a day. Like, that's driving across Michigan. Like, Kyla, come on now. But at the same time, when it was happening, I had to get stuff done for work and for both teaching and my yarn business. And then we were also having the house worked on. We had like some drywall with mold in it, so that was fun. So it's like, oh, I just wanted to get back. But anyway, so I stopped at a yarn shop called Fleece. Super sweet yarn shop. Some really nice, some nice patterns and display up there, like really kind of artful and thoughtful. And I got this dream skein that was dyed for fleece, and it's called I Heart Fleece. And it's this so dream and I speckle similarly, where it's more of a polka dot, and it's more of a warm gray instead of a cool gray. and it just caught my eye in a lovely way and jumped home with me. There wasn't, because there was stuff I'm like, oh, that's nice, and so, and then I also thought my yarn would fit there, so I gave them my information, and maybe I'll hear back from them, maybe not. All you can do is try, you know. If I don't hear back from them, whatever. This is gonna be loud crinkles. I stopped at another yarn shop called Holly's. Their shop was like chock full, and they had this really nice cotton and nylon yarn and a gradient, and it's just like a cool gray. I felt the fiber and I wanted to like play with the yarn, and this was the only color that I liked, but it's like, oh, I really want to play with that yarn, so that's why this one came home. And they also had a weaving store, and the weaving store is looking for someone to take on the torch. So if you live up in Dallas and you want to own a yarn shop weaving store, you need to go to them. I'm blanking out on her name. I forgot the name. It's a, if you look up weaving store, it'll pop up. It's a weaving center. But I bought, they had cone yarn. So I had to get some cone yarn. They had this beautiful purple mercerized cotton in a 10-2. So I want to weave, because I want to weave that dress. So I was thinking blacks and purples, because I wear black, purples, and pinks and the most. So I was thinking black and purple. So I bought black and purple cones because I'm going to use them. And then some 8-2 tinsel black. Oh, I love cone yarn. So it's sad. More weaving stores need to exist, but they're even harder than yarn shops. So all right, lastly, Nodi, or Sherry from Nodi, gifted my mom and I each this yarn caddy. So if you like to knit with something on your wrist, you can. So, and how you do that, you have your cake and you ram this up through the middle of your cake, and tension holds it open. You click this on, and then you knit from the outside of your ball, and it just around real nicely. So you can just knit off of it. So if you like to knit with something hanging, check this out. So, and you can easily click it off. So if you have like, my mom doesn't like stuff hanging from her arm. So she's like, you can have it, or I'm just going to give it back to her so she can sell it. Yes, I have it tucked away. I'll see what she wants me to do. She'll probably just tell me to keep it. Anyway, so, but if you have more than one, if you do two colored, you could switch out your colors. Well, it's easy to pull the ball off too. I don't know. I was thinking the other way. Excuse me. Anyway, so this weekend is the Hill County Trunk Show, and it's a 2-weekend affair. My first time participating in it, because I do not live in Hill County, or Hill Country, country. Technically, I don't know. So, I am dyeing yarn, and having my trunk show at Yarnivore in San Antonio. And she wanted a colorway for a Yarnivore exclusive. So if you're in San Antonio or Texas area, you can only get this at Yarnivore. And this is Cosmos. So I have been sneak peeking this on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm more active on Facebook than I am Instagram. Not Facebook, not that active on Facebook, a lot more active on Instagram, and I've like disconnected all my apps from Facebook because they keep getting hacked. It's like twice now. I'm thinking of getting off Facebook. It's kind of a dumpster fire. Anyway, so if you want this yarn, you need to go to Yarnivore and get it. I do have a similar yarn, and after doing this one, I want to kind of revamp that yarn to make it better, which equals more work for me, called Galaxy. I just haven't done that colorway in a while, so if you want something like Cosmos, you can do a special order of Galaxy, and it has more black and less green in it, so it's more black, purple, and plum, and like blues with some pink in it, and it doesn't have the teals and greens. And then this one, the star layer, which this is what I want to do on, you can kind of see it, on Galaxy, is add in some color for the stars. So like stars have different stars have different colors, so that way I could do that. And then I decided to last minute, because my mom has all my grays for kits. So I needed to dye up some grays, so I dyed up some Magical Girl, silver, and graphite, because I knew it would go well with the Cosmos, So that colorway is called Cosmos, and not like overtake it. So if you're going to join in the Hill County Yarn Crawl, come on by Yarntopia this weekend. Saturday and Sunday, say hi. So I like hugs. You don't have to buy anything from me. You can just come on, say hi, and give me a hug. That'll be good. And then in Kyla Lab news, so I'm slowly getting Etsy updated again. And I retook all my photos. They came out horrible. I'm still going to use them until I can get my other photos, all the photos redone. And excuse me. This was supposed to be shorter too. I'm just gonna pause while I think. No, can't use that one. So I'm slowly going to be updating my Etsy, and with my Etsy, it's just going to be yarns that I have in inventory. And then on my website, I think I'll do, you can, when you order a yarn, I'll dye it to order, because I want to try selling on that shop too, on that platform, and see which one works better for me. Although they're changing the tax laws where each state you have to sell, that you sell to, you pay state taxes. So Etsy does that for you. So I might stay with Etsy. because that makes life a lot easier on my end. So I'm also designing, my dad and I are working on a little loom, and once we get the design finalized, I'll show you guys the actual loom. But it's just a little tapestry loom so you can weave with your scraps. I just made a smaller tapestry. One will be 5 by 5 and it's adjustable. So one, the max is 5 by 5 square, and the other would be, the max will be 10 by 12. So, and it's just a little adjustable frame loom. So we're working on getting out all the kinks and figuring out the best materials and things like that. So I want it done before I show you guys. So our plan is to have that done and ready by the time Yellow Rose comes around, which is like next May, have a bunch made up and ready to sell. So I've been testing them with my very persnickety weaver. Other exciting news at work, I got a loom donated to us by the Hand Weavers Guild. So now my students get to work on a floral loom. It's so exciting. One student got to try it because she's in both of my classes, and I finally got it all tensioned. So next time we meet in class, they can try it. Oh, it's so exciting. And she's like, this is so much better than the stupid frame. I'm like, I know. She's like, it's so much faster. And she's like, I want one. I kind of want one in my family room now. I'm like, yeah, it's super addictive. Super addictive. So, yeah. I'm getting more people addicted to fibers. Anyway, I need to go clean the kitchen and do stuff other than talk to a computer screen. And hopefully people out there listening. I'm assuming you're there, so I'm talking to you, whether you like it or not. Yep. So talk to you guys later. Hopefully I'll have an update sooner than, like, I don't know, months later. And if you are in the San Antonio area this weekend, come by Yarnivore and do the Hill County shop hop and go shop hopping. Go to all the yarn stores, spend all the money that, you know, because it's yarn, and even though you have a couple bins, doesn't mean it's extra insulation in your house until you get it knit. When the zombies attack, you'll be fine because you can barter somebody else for, like, protection if you, like, make them clothes. So, you know, there you go. Do all the knitting and crochet and weaving with all the yarn.